Guys, it's Carissa. I had an appointment this morning and it was great because I saw the doctor and I haven't seen her since my last cycle, and that was when she boosted my meds from 75 to 225 in hopes of getting better results, and I hadn't seen her since. And she just makes me feel so confident and she just makes me feel so good. It just feels like she's a true advocate for us and really wants to do everything in her power to kind of push things and make sure that we give it our best shot. And I'll just refer to her as Dr. Awesome from now on, and in case you're confused about who it is that I say that I've seen, but she's wonderful. And so basically she came in the room and she was like, "So they only triggered that one follicle last time, huh?" And I said, "Yeah. You know, the one that we couldn't tell if it was a cluster of them or if it was just one or two big ones, whatever." And she said, "I really wish they hadn't done that. I wish they had pushed you, further to see how things could have progressed." Now, last cycle was kind of a dud cycle anyway, but the fact that she would have still liked to try something more just tells me that her mindset is right along with ours, that we want to really maximize what we do. And she said, "Well, this time it looks like you have at least a 12, so we'll take a look." And my right side had, I think, 4 that were 11 and smaller. And my left side had the 12, which has become a 13. It's just under a 13, I believe. Like, just not quite there yet. And then the rest of what was in there was 9 something, 10 something, 11 something. So they were behind that. And she said, "I don't want to trigger just one follicle. I want to push it further." And here's the problem. Today is Saturday, so tomorrow is probably when they would typically see me if they were open. But because they aren't, to know if I'll reach 14 with that one and need to start the Cetrotide, she said, "Well, let's kind of cover all of our bases. I'm going in on Monday to see where things stand," but she said, "Until then, if for some reason your body prematurely ovulates that follicle," she said, "make sure to have intercourse today and tomorrow. And then even if we did decide to trigger you for a Tuesday or a Wednesday IUI, we would still be able to have like a day off and everything between that." And she said, the scheduling would still work. And she said, typically it would have to be 15 or larger for that to even happen, but just in case, that way my bases are covered. And then I'll most likely need to start the Cetrotide on Monday. So that's great. That makes me feel a lot better. And she said that way we can make the other ones kind of hopefully keep going. But if we started the Cetrotide today, we would only really be working with that one follicle, and it might stop growing if we do that. So it's possible I could have an IUI as early as Tuesday or Wednesday. Knowing my body, it's probably not the case. It usually does take, everything kind of is a little sluggish and it takes a little bit longer than what's anticipated or expected for what's normal. But she wants me to stay on the 75 units of the gonal, and basically was like, "I don't want to trigger one. If anybody tries to make you trigger one, tell them I said not to. Specifically mention my name and tell them I said don't." So that makes me feel good, because that means that they'll likely consult her if that's the case, and she will get involved and kind of look at my information if I don't happen to see her again, during this cycle. She just makes me feel so much better. Just to kind of address some of the comments I've gotten, I know I've brought up that nurse that is the complete opposite of this doctor, and she just makes me feel uneasy. We just don't communicate well. You know how there are some people, like, do you ever have a girlfriend that you can't talk to on the phone? I hate talking on the phone anyway, but just as an example, that you can't talk to on the phone because your rhythms are all off. You both try to talk at the same time, or, one of you was an interrupter or something. I feel like she and I have that kind of issue with each other. Not really so much that we can't talk without interrupting each other or talking at the same time, but I feel like we just can't, it doesn't work. I can't read her. She either just hates my guts, or and has to pretend she doesn't, or she's really genuine and comes off as if she isn't. You know, she just seems very insincere to me, and her tone and her mannerisms. She isn't outright rude to me, and there's nothing she actually says or does most of the time that I could like run to some, you know, higher up for the facility and be like, she said this to me. It's her delivery just gives me reason to believe that she's kind of being condescending and talking down to me. You know, and if she's reviewing my information, she talks really slowly, and she'll be like, so this is what we're doing, okay? And that could either just be how she is or how she treats me, and I don't know how to read that. But I don't have a good track record with her. Those of you who've mentioned that I should request not to work with her anymore, I did. I wrote actually kind of a lengthy and slightly scathing email about her after the time that she got labs back from a different doctor of mine by accident and accused me of going to 2 different fertility centers, which is just bonkers to me. Who has time and money for that? But, and after that unpleasant conversation, I wrote them and said, she doesn't represent you well because everyone else there is wonderful, and I give you far too much money to put up with it, and I would like to request that she have absolutely no access to my files and that I do not interact with her from this point forward. And that email basically vaporized because at no point did anyone contact me and apologize or say anything. And I've had to see her since. So either it somehow didn't get sent, it went to like some kind of junk mailbox, someone saw it and thought, whatever, who cares, or she got it somehow and deleted it and didn't say anything. I don't know. I have no idea what happened to the email, but that was so long ago. It was like in the summertime or something, I think. So I've just been decent with her, and she seems to be with me. But after she gave me the wrong drug protocol, you know, things like that make me feel like, is that just her inexperience, or is that her trying to throw things off for me? See, I get paranoid. But she seems to be like a head nurse there, because this doctor, she and this doctor sit in like this special area, and whenever any of the other nurses refer to like looking over my chart with someone, they either reference that doctor or they'll bring her up. So it's almost like she's got some kind of, I don't know, higher position or something. Maybe she's becoming a doctor. I don't know. So I feel like it's unavoidable at this point. But I'm glad that I took your advice and I ignored her telling me to throw that pen away, which I have more than half of left, or I did at the time. And no, it was exactly half, right? Because I did the math very poorly. But yeah, I called a pharmacist and they said, you know, they basically reiterated a lot of what you have said. You know, some of you are nurses, and just said basically that's what you're supposed to say is after 30 days, but it will probably still work until the expiration date. Well, the pharmacist asked me what the date was that I opened that pen, and then I felt stupid because I didn't check that before I called. But I said, well, I do keep a calendar, I'll look. It was the 31st of January, so that means technically tomorrow, tomorrow would be 30 days. So the pen wasn't even 30 days old yet, and she told me to throw it away. So I'm glad I looked into it, and when I told the pharmacist that, they said, absolutely, if it's still within 30 days, it's fine, and it still is after that, but it's just ideal to not use old medication if you can help it, but if you're close to the end of it, it's perfectly fine to use. So, and that's basically what a lot of you guys said to me too, either from your experience or just working in the field, and I appreciate all of that. So I'm glad I went with my gut, but I'm going to have to work with this nurse, regardless of whether or not she means to or not cause problems for me or whatever the case is. I'm willing to do it. I'm an adult. I can play nice with her, and I'll just continue to hope she does the same with me. So, so that's pretty much it for that. And I just wanted to thank all of you guys for your input as far as that goes. But I did use both pens because I felt kind of weird. Even though I knew that one was perfectly fine, part of me was like, use the new pen one night and then use the old pen the next night, which is strange. But tonight and tomorrow, which is technically the 30 days, I'll finish up that pen. So that is it. I want to say congratulations to Heather and Jenny. They got their BFP. Very excited for you guys. I'm a little bit weirdly excited for you guys because I couldn't sleep last night after I talked to Heather and congratulated her. But their channel I'll link below if you want to check them out and see what's going on with them. And that's it. I have a lot going on today. My dog is going to be in a pet telethon in a kissing booth today, so we're going to go to that, and then we're going to follow doctor's orders, do what we need to do, and hope on Monday that my big follicle is still there and bigger, and that all the rest of them have joined it. And I don't know how many is the cutoff point in her eyes for what the trigger is. I don't know if she's saying she only wants to trigger 2, or if she's like, whatever, if it's 3 or less, then we'll do it. But we won't know until Monday, and I'm excited to, she just gives me so much hope, and she makes me feel like it's okay to get excited about this, because she treats it like she cares, and she treats it like something could happen, and that makes me feel really good. So I will touch base with you guys next week. Have a good weekend. Thank you. Bye.